the federal government has certain powers that it can utilize depending upon what it's trying to deal with. So in the international terrorism arena, under the Constitution and laws of the United States, the government has certain powers to deal with those kinds of threats and certain limitations on those powers that are different from what applies in the domestic setting. The Constitution and laws of the United States mean a different thing as a practical matter inside the United States. Dealing with the domestic terrorism type of investigation, some of the most difficult challenges, I think, are both legal and operational. On the legal side, yes, I think a domestic terrorism statute would certainly help. It would be another tool that would clarify the intent of Congress with respect to what the FBI should be doing in dealing with these problems. It would simplify in certain circumstances the lens or the framework that the FBI would apply to try to deal with these particular situations. But yet there would still be a requirement to assess that the facts supported the notion that this was a domestic terrorism offense as opposed to something else, right? How do you appropriately investigate an organized group that has First Amendment rights, and how do you do that? Do you have undercover officers or agents try to go into there? Do you try to recruit somebody? All those kinds of issues that people worry about there. With the smaller groups and with the individuals, it's a significant problem with respect to detection. How do you figure out that these people are up to something that is not only extremist in terms of the views that they're stating, but also then potentially criminal? And so those are some of the practical realities that still exist and will exist even if we change the law in some way to facilitate these investigations. So yes, so I mean, look, I mean, Russia is in this sense, a chaos actor in the United States that just wants to create dissension and discord within our society or to amplify it to benefit their own national objectives, which are not consistent with the long-term strategic interests of the United States. They are a threat to the United States and they're a bad actor. So as we were saying before, in a situation where they are involved, if we the FBI or another investigative agency, can ascertain that they're involved, then that will bring to bear other investigative tools, but with respect to them and their agents, right? So the Constitution and laws of the U.S. allow the FBI to use foreign intelligence tools when dealing with a foreign actor. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can use those same tools against an American. There's a legal analysis that you'd have to go through and so on, but it potentially opens up an avenue to try to thwart their activities.
I'll just follow up on what George said in the last panel too. The government doesn't own these platforms, right? It's a social media problem as well, and is how much tension there is between the government and social media platforms in just dealing with foreign terrorist threats. We haven't begun to discuss what would happen if we start identifying domestic terrorist threats and what to do with social media platforms in terms of taking down that content. So that just adds to the complexity of this issue.
Yeah.